It's Christmas time, which means lots of festive baking in your kitchen. I've got a beautiful recipe today that captures the essence of Christmas. For this festive strudel, we need to start with some rough puff pastry. So 400 grams of plain flour. And then we need, for the total recipe, we need 200 grams of butter. But to start with at this stage, we just need 100. Into the bowl, and then just using your fingertips, just rub the butter into the flour till you end up with this kind of crumble texture. This is where it gets a little bit different. Pour the flour and butter out onto the worktop, and then the remaining 100 grams, I want you to just cut into cubes. And the idea with rough puff pastry is that you end up with little pockets of butter running right the way through the pastry, and that gets really hot in the oven and crisps and goes all flaky. Just coat the butter in the flour. It's crucial that you don't overmix this. Right, so make a little well in the middle, and then we've got a lemon. Just add a squeeze of lemon juice, a couple of splashes of cold water, and then we're just gonna start to mix this together. Again, the lightest of touch. Don't work the butter in. We don't want the butter to melt. We just want to bring this together as a dough now. You see how it's coming together? Can you see we've got pockets of butter in there? That's what you want. Just those little reservoirs of butter that are going to crisp up and make this pastry lovely and golden and crisp. Once you've brought it together as a pastry dough, we just need to add a touch of flour, and then with a rolling pin, just nice and gentle. Keep the pastry moving. You don't want it to stick, but don't put too much weight on the rolling pin. Nice and gentle. So it's time to fold it now. So just make sure the pastry lifts off, which it does, and then fold it towards you about 2/3 of the way. And then fold this bit that's nearest you over, away from you. So what we've ended up is like an S shape, and we've folded that together. Just tap it with a rolling pin, and then that's ready to rest in the fridge. Let the butter firm up for another 10 minutes, and then one more roll and fold, and it's ready. Once the pastry has come out of the fridge, it'll be quite firm. So you've got to roll it quite harsh, and just use your weight. Just use a tiny little bit of flour, just to help it not stick. And look, can you see, look at all those pockets of butter there that are spreading out as we're rolling, and you see there, that's just butter. That is gonna crisp up in the oven and go lovely and flaky. We want this about 1/2 centimetre thick. Okay, that should be fine. So I'm just gonna flip this over, take a knife, I'm just gonna trim the edges so that it's nice and neat. That's the pastry done. So I'm just gonna move that to one side. So for the filling, I've got some mixed fruit, and I've just soaked that in a bit of brandy, a little bit of honey, and some nutmeg. We've got some dried cranberries, got some golden caster sugar, some candied orange, ginger, and nutmeg. All beautiful Christmas flavours. So we'll just spoon that straight in. Some dried cranberries, that'll give a really lovely tang. And some candied orange peel. What I do with my candied orange peel is I actually boil it up in orange juice and a bit of sugar, and then it plumps up and goes really sweet and fragrant. There we go. And then I've got some candied ginger. A couple of these will do because they're quite strong, but they give a lovely flavour, and all these flavours are just going to sing together. So a few little slices there, and then some golden caster sugar, just to kind of make a lovely syrup as it bakes inside. 3 tablespoons of that, and then some nutmeg. Always try and use the fresh stuff. And just zest that in. This will give it that wonderful spice flavour that we all know and love with Christmas. So last couple of things to add, some fresh apple. I've got some Braeburns and some Granny Smiths here, some really nice, fresh, clean, crisp apples. You could also use cookers as well. So just cut them into quarters, and then just into slices, about 1/2 centimetre thick. You don't want them too thin, because you don't want them to break up and dissolve. You want pieces of apple in this. And then just mix everything together. Bring all those beautiful, festive, Christmassy flavours together. I mean, look at that. That just looks like Christmas to me. I've mixed all that together now. We have got Christmas in a bowl right there. So we'll bring our pastry back into play and then spoon the mixture right down the middle, okay? So just level out all the filling. And now we're going to turn this into a strudel. I want you to cut a little right-angled triangle off the top corner, and then we're going to simply inch-long cuts down one side, and then the same on the other side. And then we take the first piece and we fold it over. So we go from one corner to the other, and then take the other piece and we go over to that side. And then we just repeat the process until we've encased all the filling, making sure that each fold locks in the one before. So just fold them in, and that's it. And then just at the ends, just crimp them shut so that we encase all those amazing flavors and ingredients. Use a knife and just carefully trim that piece off, and then trim this end. Baking tray lined with a bit of parchment paper, just carefully lift. Get your hands underneath it and then just lay it across diagonally onto the tray, and then we're going to egg wash it, dust it with a little caster sugar, straight into the oven, preheated, 180 degrees, 35 to 40 minutes. Should cook this beautifully so it's flaky, golden and crisp, and when you crack into the center, you should smell Christmas.